What's going on, YouTube? Rdap Dan here. Hope you guys are having an awesome week so far. I think that was the speaker. Speaker went off in the background there. Anyway, hope you guys are doing really good. It's Wednesday, so we're going to talk a little bit here about RDAP and how hard is RDAP really. But we're going to give you guys a few extra minutes here to join in the room, and we'll see what everybody's got going on. So what's everybody got going on this week? And take this time, if you haven't already done so, make sure if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do so now. Real simple, tap the subscribe button. Also, go ahead and hit the notification button, which puts you on for our notifications. You can also text the word YouTube to 76626. We'll put you on a text message notification list. This way you will get a quick text message right before we go live as a quick reminder, because I know none of you forget to come check out RDAP Dan, but just in case, if like a fire's burning or something's going on crazy, you'll have a way to remember to come check us out. What's going on, Kevin, Bonnie, Mike? Mike from Oakland checking in. Welcome from Oakland. We've got some really cool things getting ready to go on. As I told you, we moved into the new office down here in downtown Spokane, so we're really excited about that. We've got a new awesome team member, which you guys will all get to know here in the next couple of weeks. Cool guy by the name of CJ, who I've happened to know about 30 years now. Known him for about 30 years, and we both went two different directions. He went to the military, I went to prison, so it's kind of like the same thing. But we will be talking about that in the next couple of weeks. We'll probably bring CJ on the show. We'll do an interview with him and let you guys talk about what he's going to be helping us do and just making sure that you guys are all getting the important attention that some of you need. And with that said, we're going to jump into this video. Don't forget, if you want to get your RDAP Dan wristband, all you need to do is pop over to our website, rdapdan.com. Click on the members area. It's absolutely free to become a member. Once you click on the members area, you'll see you'll have options where you can check out the sentencing calculator, or you can get your RDAP Dan wristband, which is used to help you not dwell on negativity. You see the wristband, you're having a negative thought. It allows you to change that thought and do something positive instead of sitting there burying your head in the sand. All right. Oh, Jenny's here. You made it, Jenny. Jenny was having technical difficulties logging in, but she's here. So Jenny's posting away. Time for RDAP storm warning. That's funny, Bonnie. So the reason why I decided to do this video is I received a message today actually on Instagram. I received a message from a lady on Instagram today whose fiance or boyfriend is in federal prison. He was sentenced to, I think she said 120 months, and he's at the tail end. He's at the tail end of his prison sentence, and he was in RDAP. He had 1 month left to complete RDAP, and he violated a term in RDAP. They removed him from the program, which means the entire 12 months that he was going to receive off, which would have brought him home very soon, he lost that year, and now his release date went from 2019 back to 2020. So he had a release date of 2000. Oh, she's in the room. Onyx P. That's her, Mari. So Mari's in the room with us. So his release date was in 2019 with his year off for RDAP. And then with Halfway House, there's a good chance he would have been going home some point this year. And because of a seemingly unimportant decision, making a choice, he lost his RDAP and now has to reapply for RDAP, which he can reapply in several months from now. And if he does get reaccepted into the program, instead of getting 12 months off, he'll only be able to get 6 months off because of how much time he's got remaining. So there still is some hope for him, but it's going to definitely change the dynamics. Now, this is an extremely important topic because everybody that is potentially looking at a federal prison system, at some point, you guys find out about RDAP. And once you find out about RDAP, you quickly hear that you can get time knocked off your sentence, whether it be 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months. Now, in order to get 6 months, or in order to get 12 months off your sentence, you have to have a sentence of 37 months or more in order to qualify for the full 12 months. Now, remember, if you're sentenced to 37 months, when you get to prison, you would need to enter RDAP immediately to get the full year off. So if you get to RDAP and it takes 2 or 3 months to get in the program and you were only sentenced to 37 months, chances are, best case scenario, now you're looking at 9 months because you didn't enter into the program with 37 months or more remaining. Okay, so getting into RDAP is really half the battle. Everybody thinks it's extremely difficult to get into RDAP. I also just got off the phone with another gentleman who may be using us to help him with some services, and he was under the impression that you had to have a drug-related crime in order to enter into the RDAP program. And we all know, or at least you guys should know if you've been following this channel for long enough, that that is absolutely not true. You have to have substance abuse, whether it be drinking, smoking marijuana, prescription pills, substance abuse that's documented during the time of your pre-sentence report. A lot of people think that you have to have, when they read, like if you go to FAM, F-A-M-M, Families Against Minimum Mandatories, it will stipulate some of the guidelines for RDAP there, and it says that you have to have documented information documenting your substance abuse in order to qualify for RDAP. Now, a lot of people assume that means you have to have like either a DUI or substance abuse recommendations from a doctor, or you needed to be in therapy or counseling. What it means when they're saying substance abuse documentation is during the time of your pre-sentence report, you need to be very clear when you explain your substance abuse to the pre-sentence probation officer. It needs to be explained. Date ranges are very important. You need to know the date ranges, the 12 months prior to your indictment. You need to understand all of the dynamics to this, or you may not qualify for RDAP later on. Now, one of the questions he said to me, he goes, well, if that's the case, what's to stop everybody from just making up bullshit in order to get into RDAP? And that is a very fair and valid question. What is to stop people from making up falsified statements in order to get into RDAP? Absolutely nothing. The problem is RDAP is not some easy peasy, walk a couple of quick steps, bump your way through RDAP, say what they want you to, or do what they want you to say, and jump through some hoops. It literally is a cognitive, intense, therapeutic community that focuses a whole lot, not just on substance abuse, but decision-making, consequences, holding each other accountable. If you start lying about having substance abuse issues and there's really none that exist, and you just say it in order to get into RDAP, you may get into RDAP, yes. Very unlikely you're going to make it through the program, because you're not going to be able to carry the backstory. You're not going to be able to share within these groups of your substance abuse use, going into detail without creating this giant lie that chances are you're going to get found out by other inmates. The staff's going to find you out. They're going to call you out in front of everybody. They're going to embarrass you, humiliate you, and remove you from the program. Now you went through all that. You're not getting time off. You've pissed off the BOP because you wasted their time. You're probably not going to get any additional halfway house time later on, because you've already showed this track record that you'll do and say whatever you need to do to try to pretend you have issues. So there's a very good chance they won't believe anything else you say from that point. So you do what you want to do to get into the program. I'm not here to babysit you. I am here to tell you that if you come to me and you tell me you do not have a substance abuse problem, but you want to get into RDAP, I'm going to tell you that I probably can't help you. And there's other prison consultants out there that will take you on and walk you through those falsifying steps. We work really hard on our reputation. We work really hard on making sure that we're not only respected in the industry, but we also respect the program. We respect the staff. We respect the BOP. There's plenty of people out there. There's plenty of prison consultants. There's plenty of prison advocates that will talk about how bad the prison system is and how unfair it is and how they need to all this prison reform. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that that's not true. But I'm saying there's enough people that are cheerleading for that. Most of you that are watching this channel right now, there's a good chance that you did something stupid that's allowing you to go to prison. And if you fall into the gossip of how broken the system is, it stops you from taking accountability and allows you to justify your choices and actions by what ultimately led you to this point to begin with. And if you're not owning up to what you did and you're just going, it's not fair, they didn't sentence this other guy, or what about him, or they're giving me too much time. You should have thought about that before you did the crime, right? The system's unfair? Okay, what are you going to do about it? I didn't see you out there going to your town, to town hall meetings prior to you getting in trouble. Now all of a sudden they got their talons in you. Now you want to get all prison reformy. There's a time and place for that, and this isn't the channel for that. So not to mean that I disagree that prison reform is needed. I just think there's enough people taking care of that. We can focus on taking responsibility for our own actions and realizing what put us in the situation to make sure that we can identify our victims, which are our friends and our family, to make sure that we can put hard work and effort into personal narratives, into character reference letters, into preparing for the pre-sentence report, into making sure we're out there doing community service, creating a mentor network, preparing for this journey. The preparation for release starts right now. It doesn't start when you get into prison. So if your mindset is stuck on, I shouldn't be going to prison and this is not fair, you're not doing anything except blowing a bunch of hot air that nobody really cares to hear. They might act like they do, and they might say how unfair it is, but it's not going to do you any good at the end of the day. The clients that we've seen receive probation, and these clients were not supposed to receive probation, it was because they got this idea and they got this theory, realizing that taking full accountability and doing things for the right reason ultimately propelled what the judge saw at that day of sentencing, where the judge went against guidelines, where he went against the prosecutor, where he went against all odds and said, I'm giving you probation because I believe you have changed. So that's what we do. That's a little bit different. Bonnie, appreciate it. Tomorrow, what's going on? Tomorrow's son finally made it to Rdap, which we spoke about a little bit. He's had a long journey. Started off at a camp, got into a fight, got moved to a low, didn't work out too well, spent some time in the SHU, finally got retransferred. Now he's in Rdap, and hopefully he's doing well. I did send him an email waiting for a response from him. Brandon Rader was wondering if you had any info on satellite camps. Sure. It just depends what satellite camps you're referring to. Feel free to email me, which is my emails right here on the screen, rdapdan@gmail.com, or feel free to shoot me a text or even give me a phone call. At least once a day I get a phone call, and the first thing they'll say is like, oh, wow, I didn't think you were really going to answer the phone. I didn't know if this was like a real number, which blows my mind, which means people must post phone numbers and saying, call me, and that phone number not really go anywhere. But no, guys, I'm here to take your calls. I try to answer the phone 24/7 if I can. Now that we've moved into this office, we're a little bit more organized with time management. And we've been here since about 7:30 this morning, and it's 6 o'clock right now. And I'm going to finish up with you guys and go home and eat something yummy. So, Rdap. Rdap is not easy. It is not an easy journey. It is high expectations. It's high intensity. Everybody thinks they've got it figured out, and they're going to go in there and just do what they got. I see more people getting removed from the program. I've seen more people quit the program. I've seen more people get recycled in the program where they weren't progressing fast enough. That doesn't just happen because they don't like you. It happens because the program is designed to make you very uncomfortable. Because without being uncomfortable, there's really no ability for you to change. If you're just walking through life, things falling into place for you, why would you ever change? If you don't think there's anything wrong with you and you don't think you need to change, you need to ask yourself, why are you going to prison if nothing's wrong in your life? If you're going to prison, you probably made some poor choices somewhere. You probably didn't focus on consequences. Your rational thought process is probably really irrational, and you may not be at a point in your life yet where you can realize that your rational thinking is really irrational. And that's okay, because we got to start somewhere. But it is important that you admit that you do not have it all figured out, and that you do need some guidance, and you do need some help, and you are looking for acceptance in a program to allow you to explore your brain, to make you uncomfortable, to help the process of change. That doesn't help if you're going to fight the system. You have to be willing to open up, be vulnerable, be open-minded, be objective. Don't think everything somebody's trying to tell you is they're trying to cram some psychobabble bullshit down your throat, because there may be some truth to that, but your job is to digest what you can take from something. Not everything is going to apply to you, but some of these things will apply to you. So let's talk about why Onyx P's, I think that's who we're talking to, Onyx, right? Her boyfriend Jay, why he was removed from Rdap. So apparently, from what she told me, he's been doing everything he needs to do in prison. He's been a role model inmate, and he got caught with an MP3 player. Didn't get caught with a cell phone, didn't get caught with drugs, didn't get in a fight, didn't stab anybody, didn't rape anybody, didn't get raped, didn't make threatening phone calls, didn't tell the guard to go fuck himself. He got caught with an MP3 player. An MP3 player that was not prison issued. As you know, you can buy, if you don't know, I've got mine around here somewhere, but you can purchase MP3 players on the commissary which is fine. His MP3 player was smuggled in somehow, and it came from the outside. All it was music. It wasn't the end of the world, but you're not allowed to have an MP3 player that is not issued from the prison. Just like you can't have a watch that's not issued from the prison. You can't have clothes that are not issued from the prison. It's contraband. You cannot have it. So they took it very serious. They put him in the shoe for 45 days. He already had 6 points on his custody level. Gave him an additional 4 points, which put him at 10. And I don't have the list in front of me, but that may take him from a camp custody level to a low custody level. So right now he's in the shoe. Not sure when he's getting out. And he was borrowing the MP3 player. It wasn't even his. That's she's updating us on there. So he was using somebody else's MP3 player, which, if it's in your possession, 9/10 of the law, you got in your possession, it's your MP3 player. You want to tell us whose MP3 player it is? No, because if I do that, I'm going to get beat up. So you're not going to go tell on people because that's just going to make matters worse for you. So he took the blame, sitting in the shoe, put himself in a really bad situation, put Onyx in a very bad situation because, look, this guy was sentenced to 120 months, and she's been waiting patiently for 120 months. So now he's not coming home when she was expecting. It's kind of rekindled all of those feelings all over again of going through the whole distraught and the dissatisfaction. And it could have been easily avoided. He didn't have to do it. He made a choice. He has himself to blame, nobody else. And all of you that are trying to get into RDAP, everybody tells me, oh, I'm not going to mess with cell phones. I'm not going to do anything I'm not supposed to do. Quit thinking you've got it all figured out. Quit thinking you're just going to go in there and do the right thing. It's great to have good intentions, but you need to be a little bit real with yourself. You need to realize that you're going to be in an environment 24/7 where you're going to get bored. You're going to see other people doing things. You might have that one time where you're like, no one's around. You watch it once. You listen to it once. You do something you're not supposed to do once. Gets a little easier, you do it again. Before you know it, you don't even feel like you're doing anything wrong. And it becomes another day until it's not, until you're sitting in the shoe with RDAP stripped from you. I never had RDAP taken away from me, but I can tell you I was very close, and I knew what it felt like to imagine it being gone when I was so close. Getting in stupid trouble that I shouldn't have put myself in, involving myself with other people that I should have just avoided. The gossip usually comes from gossip. Gossip will usually create some of the biggest monsters in RDAP that it's a very hard struggle to process through. RDAP is not, I've never met anybody that's graduated RDAP and was like, yeah, that was no problem. I don't mind doing it again. Never, unless they were talking trash. But when you talk to people in RDAP, the closer they get, they walk around like zombies. They're afraid to talk to anybody because they're afraid they're going to say the wrong thing and get in trouble somehow, making a comment, being aggressive towards somebody. There's so many things that can get you removed from RDAP. Kevin asked me why I almost lost my RDAP. I almost lost my RDAP for manipulating circumstances, to where I tried to manipulate outcomes that would make me look better, and it just doesn't work. When you're out manipulating in the real world, you think you're pulling the wool over somebody's eyes. And really what it is they just don't care enough to call you on your bullshit, or they don't like confrontation and they don't want to have that friction with you, so they just ignore it and pretend like it doesn't exist. Meanwhile, you think everyone's like, got everyone fooled. In RDAP, it doesn't work that way. There were several reasons. A lot of the times in RDAP, I really thought that I probably put more pressure on myself than what was really going on. But the one thing that saved me in RDAP, every time I got into some kind of trouble, when I did something stupid, when I was confronted about it by anybody's staff or senior peer or another RDAPper, I realized if they're asking me, they probably know. And the one thing my DTS told me, my drug treatment specialist early on at the RDAP, if you ever lie to me, I'm going to knock your head off. If you're honest with me, I'll always go to bat for you. So I kept that in the back of my mind. So every time I did something dumb, I was honest about it when it came clean. Another time, we had our books. You've got different books that you have to go through in RDAP. And the books are not hard work. They're 7th grade reading level. It's more of just boring, and you don't want to do it, and it's repetitive, and it's like, So we're going through our books. Phase 1, went through the first book orientation, no problem, did it, turned them in. They never checked them. They gave them right back to us, gave us our second book. I'm like, oh, they don't even read these things? So going into the second book, I forgot what it was. It might have been Rational Thinking was the name of the book. And when they asked us to do book work, I barely touched the book. I did very little effort into writing anything in the book because I didn't think they were ever going to read it. But I would talk great in group. I would say all the right things, do all the right things I was supposed to do. But when it came time to like doing homework, I was like, I'm going to go work out, or I'm going to go read a book, or I'm going to go teach a class. I'm not going to waste my time with these books. They're never going to read them. That was my justification for not doing the book. Well, finish the books. They said, everybody turn in your book. Turned in the books. I'm expecting they're going to give them right back just like last time. Well, they kept them all. I'm like, that's weird. 2 days later, they come back in the group, hand out everybody's book. Like 3 of us didn't get our books back. And I'm like, they lost my book. Like, if you didn't get your book back, come see us after class. I was like, that's probably not a good sign. So I went in, sat down with my DTS. It was my DTS, all of the other DTSs. So it was Miss Neesmith, which was my DTS. It was Miss Anderson, which was another DTS. It was Miss Wilkerson, which was another DTS. Mr. Garcia, and I forgot the last DTS's name, and Dr. Smith, the RDAP coordinator, all sitting in a small room, smaller than the room I'm in right now. It's basically like me sitting at this desk, looking at people sitting across from me, and this is where I was sitting with all these team members, just sitting there, all nice and polite, and they asked me, Mr. Wise, do you know why you're in here today? And I said, well, don't know exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's got something to do with my book. She's like, okay. She's like, so she puts my book on the desk and she opens it up. She goes, tell me why the effort in your book does not match the effort we see. Because what I'm seeing from here is maybe you're not really putting in effort. Maybe you're just pretending. Maybe you're telling us what we want to hear, because I don't see this type of effort in your book. And I was really shocked. Out of all the people that I would expected to do this, you were the last person, which makes me more upset because it really makes me feel like that you're a really good manipulator. And I'm just like, oh my God, I wasn't doing it to manipulate. I was just doing it because I didn't think anybody was going to read it. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. So now my mind starts going into like defense mode. And in my mind, I start running through, how can I get myself out of this? That's where my mind first goes to, right? So they rushed us through this book, which is no excuse because the book was super easy. Everybody else finished it. I just didn't care to. So they rushed us through it because for some reason, and they had another class coming in, so they had to get us through the book. So I almost want to say, well, they didn't give us enough time to work on it, and they only gave us like 3 days to finish like the last 5 chapters of the book, which was true. But again, other people finished it no problem. I just didn't apply myself. So before I could say that, my DTS, Miss Neesmith, she must have saw something in my face getting ready to say something stupid. She goes, Mr. Wise, before you say anything, think deep and hard about what you're going to say before you say it. And I stopped in my tracks because I'm like, oh my God, this woman's talking to me right now and hoping I'm reading between the lines. So I took a minute, and I took a deep breath, and I said, honestly, I didn't do anything in the book because I didn't think you guys were ever going to read it. I didn't think I needed to. I thought, no one's going to read the book, so why even try? There's other things I'd rather do out on the compound. And Dr. Smith's eyes went like, bloop, like, looked like an owl staring at me. A couple other DTSs shaking their head. You could tell everybody had their different opinion about it. And Dr. Smith looked at me, and she was like, I didn't expect that. She goes, but that was honest. And basically, I sat there and got reprimanded a little bit about how, this pattern is what probably led me to prison. If I don't break this pattern, there's going to be other consequences in my future. It may not be getting removed from RDAP, but it could be other situations. And, she was absolutely right. So they said basically, you're going to continue. We're going to move into your next phase, but you've got to redo your entire book within like a week. And we want to see effort put into the book. So, man, I had to treat this book like it was like the Bible. And it was not that the book was hard, but you're doing so much so fast and maintaining everything else you have to do, knowing they're going to basically, even though they looked at the other books, they scanned through them. They were going to go through my book with like a fine-tooth comb. So I really had to like apply myself and go above and beyond in what I wrote into this book. So it was a little bit of luck. It was Miss Neesmith being there, being that voice I needed to hear at that second that stopped me from crash test dummying. And that's something that I'll battle with for the rest of my life. I'll battle with making irrational, impulsive choices. So I focus and I force myself to like take things slow and try not to make decisions quickly. without thinking it through and looking at how could it play out if I do this versus if I do this. What's going to be the worst case scenario if I do this? And if I'm not willing to deal with the consequence, then I can't do what it is I want to do if I'm not willing to deal with an outcome. Because you don't know what the outcome is going to be necessarily. But if you know that that is a possible outcome and it's not something you're willing to deal with, and you do it anyway, and you get stuck with that outcome, man, you deserved it because you only have yourself to blame. So RDAP is not a walk in the park. Do not think just because you're going to get into RDAP that you're automatically going to get the year off and graduate and get through it. Most of you, if you apply yourself, now this video isn't to scare you out of RDAP, and it's not to scare you to think you won't get you through RDAP, but look, we all need that useful, helpful dose of reality from time to time, and I think some of us think RDAP is going to be way easier than it really may be because we're so focused on the year off that we're not focused on what you actually have to do when you get into RDAP. One of the things that I plan on doing this year is renting out a small theater and getting some theater students to put together a mock-up of what a timeline of a week, what it looks like in RDAP. And, you know, we'll stage it out and do the plays and give you guys a real good feel of what RDAP actually feels like. I'm not going to overemphasize on it. I'm not going to make it crazier than it really is. I'm not going to dumb it down. I'm just going to give you the experience on how RDAP was through my eyes. So maybe that's something you guys will enjoy and be able to get a little bit of actual feel for what RDAP may be about. We also just got a phone call just now from a production company. We spoke to a production company in the past. We decided not to move forward with them because of the direction we wanted to go in. But I just got a phone call. That's why I was running late. I just got a phone call from a production company. And this is a legit production company that is interested in doing something in the theme that we like to do it in, which is keeping it real, keeping it focused on positivity. So we'll see where it goes. We never know until we know. So let's read some messages here. Do they really have a chance at getting accepted back in the program after being kicked out? Absolutely. I saw several guys get removed from the program for various reasons and then come back in at later time. I met guys when I was in RDAP that had already been kicked out earlier and now they were in with me 9 months later. So yes, it happens all the time. So the probability of getting back into RDAP is huge. It's very high. And usually almost everybody that goes in their second round, almost everybody makes it through because they know what not to do. They've burned their hand on the stove enough times and they felt the consequence. They got that spanking that they needed. And chances are, Onyx, maybe he's being completely honest with you, maybe he's not. But my opinion from what I've seen in prison, chances are that wasn't his first time playing with the MP3 player. That was just the first time he got caught. Probably several times. Just like anything else in life. You get caught selling drugs, it probably wasn't your first time selling drugs. You get caught cheating, probably wasn't your first time cheating. What happens is we get into that comfort zone where it becomes easier and easier and easier to where it no longer feels like we're doing anything wrong. So more than likely, that is probably the situation that he was in, that I would be willing to put money on. She agrees. At least you're keeping it real, Onyx. So yeah, so that's what we wanted to do today's topic on, guys, because RDAP is hardcore. RDAP has amazing benefits, not just the year off. The tools that you can take with you if you actually apply yourself and you bring this stuff into the real world with you. I've met plenty of guys that got out of prison and could give a shit about RDAP. They think it was all bullshit. But I really believe they believed it while they were there. But once they got out, they went back to being the cool guy mentality to where they wanted to be cool with their friends and talking like RDAP all day about the life of RDAP and how it changes your life. It makes you sound a bit nerdy. And if you're not comfortable being a bit nerdy, then RDAP may not sink in and grab hold of you. But I'll tell you what, I've met some amazingly nerdy people when I changed my people, places, and things and the type of people that I try to associate with now because I see how much my life has improved from cutting out the cancers of my life. And if being a little bit nerdy is going to help me with that, then maybe next time I'll have a little bow tie and glasses on. I'm gonna start developing and evolving more and more into like a Poindexter Dan here. So that's really all I got for today, guys. This is rather a short video. We're going to be, like I said, we're going to be introducing CJ here probably next week at some point. We'll come up with a fun topic, and he's going to be doing all kinds of things. He's going to be helping with back-end support. He's going to be helping with, we're building a new CRM right now, a client relation management tool that's going to help us keep track of where everybody is, not just in their journey of going to prison, but who needs what letters, who's waiting on what. Basically anything you could ever imagine for any business would need to run successfully. The CRM, so CJ has been updating that all day long. It's a brand new CRM that we just installed here a couple days ago. So neither one of us had very much hair left, but if we did, we'd be pulling it all out. It's not easy, but it's needed because you guys are awesome, and we want to make sure you're getting the support you need. Thank you, Diana Woodson. I appreciate that. Who's waiting on Jenny? That's what the email should be that we send out once a week. Who's waiting on Jenny? Because maybe you guys are waiting on some stuff on Jenny because Jenny wears a lot of hats. We're going to have CJ probably taking off a couple of Jenny's hats so Jenny can really focus on the creative writing aspect of things, so she can focus on our blogging, so she can focus on helping create amazing content for all of you. So everybody eventually is going to have like a role that they fall into. But right now, everybody's kind of doing a little bit of everything. We've got Andrew and Alex that are over on the East Coast that are maintaining back-end SEO and the website. So everybody's putting in their dues and putting in their time right now. And man, sometimes I feel like we're in a third world country because the amount of money that I pay these people to help me is like peanuts. So it just goes to show you that they're doing it because they believe in what we're doing, and they all realize that if we keep doing what we're doing for the right reasons, everything will fall into place. There was a point where nobody believed that it would ever be where it is today. There was a point where nobody ever believed that this would be an actual business. There was a point where nobody ever believed that we would have an office where we would actually be able to conduct this out of properly. And that's why I tell you guys, if you don't believe in yourself, you can count on nobody else really believing in you. So if you're waiting for somebody else to make things happen for you, you're going to be waiting a very, very long time because people suck generally. Well, I'm Rdap Dan, federal prison time. As always, I love every single one of you. Every day is a new day. People helping people. Community as method. We'll be back Saturday at 1 p.m. As I told you guys, in the near future, we may be changing our amount of live streams from 3 days to 2 or 1. That's going to free us up for some more video content. Now that I have CJ, who's also going to be working as like a producer and helping out with editing videos and going out and filming and helping me generate interviews. We're going to be doing some more of that because I know you guys like that. Those videos are usually a little bit shorter, a little bit more entertaining because they're edited, music, all that fun stuff that I know you guys are like hamsters running around with your brain waves and your attention spans like a goldfish spinning around in a cage there. So I want to make sure I can cater to the goldfish out there. All right, guys, I will see you guys soon. Don't forget to subscribe. Do it right now. How many thumbs up do we got on this video? How many thumbs ups do we got, CJ? It's right there on the bottom of the screen. We got 9 thumbs up, and we've had way more than 9 people in this room, so we should see at least like 20 thumbs up within the next hour. And if you guys post comments in this video after it's over, and you post something really cool and unique, tell me something you want me to talk about on Saturday, and we'll mention it on Saturday's video. All right, guys, that's all I got. I will see you guys soon. Have a great evening. I'm out of here. Peace.